Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are talking right now with Doug Upstone doing our regular MLB divisional betting update show. Today is Friday, August 1st, and right now we're going to take a look at the AL Central. Doug Upstone, thanks for being back with us.
Hi, Peter. Glad to be back once again. And yes, this division, well, I'm not sure if the division has changed so much, but certainly one team at the top of the division has changed a great deal.
Right, we'll get to that in a second. The AL Central, kind of an interesting division. The top three teams in the standings, Detroit, KC, and Cleveland, have all been negative bets on the year, negative units and negative ROI. The bottom two teams, though, in the standings are the White Sox and Minnesota, and they've both been positive on the year. The White Sox, in fact, are a plus 8% ROI on the year. That's fourth best overall in baseball. First, let's get to your forecast from last call. You said play on Detroit, and that did not turn out very well. They went 8-10 since our last call, minus 21% ROI. But you also said bet against Minnesota, and they went 7-10 for an ROI of a minus 8.5%. So, you know, I guess the big news is Detroit adds David Price, which obviously will help. But in the betting, from the betting perspective, maybe it won't, because David Price is himself tends to be an overvalued guy. Detroit, as good of a team as they are, in general tends to be a little bit overvalued. So from a betting perspective, maybe that doesn't help much at all.
You know, I think the key is following Detroit in terms of how they play and when they're playing, what they're doing. I have some interesting numbers here for you, Peter.
Okay.
On May 18th, Detroit was 27-12, okay, well ahead in the division. By June 19th, they had gone 12-20 in that period to fall into second place. From there, they went 17-6 on another huge roll. Here you thought Detroit was going to be on their way, and again, falling off the wagon again. They're 6-9 in their last 15 games. And you just don't know. I mean, like, to me right now, I'm not sure, even though there's a lot of excitement about Detroit with what they just did, I don't know that you bet on Detroit at this point, because they're in another one of those funks again this year, at this time.
That is how I kind of feel. And then let's move to the White Sox, who are kind of like the antithesis of Detroit. The White Sox are, you know, in the standings, you know, very mediocre, but they've been a great bet on the year overall. Again, they're fourth best in all of baseball in the money standings, plus 8% ROI on the year and plus 16% ROI since our last video. So what do you think? You think the White Sox continue to be a little bit under the radar and undervalued?
Yeah, I do. You know, the couple of different things to point out is that, you know, as a favorite, they're plus 3 units, and as an underdog, they're a little over 7 units up. So those are two pretty positive trends. You know, and when you look at their pitching, you know, overall, you see that they're 12th in ERA. But if you look at their starting pitching, I mean, you got Chris Sale, okay, dynamite. Johnny Danks, not a great pitcher, but now he's up 4 units in terms of profit. And then recently, Jose Quintana, you know, even though his record is only 6-7, he's got an ERA of 3.15. And as if I recall, he has not given up more than 3 runs in his last 8 starts. So he's helped keep the White Sox in all those games that he's pitched in and won his share. You know, you sort of have to like the top 3 with what they're doing, and their offense, you know, tends to run a little bit hot and cold in terms of the home runs when they score. But I still have to say, you know what? You got to look at the White Sox, especially in the role of an underdog, as a fairly decent bet to consider.
I'd have to agree with that, Doug Upson. And the other 3 teams are KC, Cleveland, and Minnesota, all kind of mediocre, and none that you know, make me think that I'd want to sort of look into a long-term trend to bet on them one way or another. So the AL Central, you only had 2 forecasts for us last call. This call, what do you have for us? Sounds like the only one that you really kind of like is bet on the White Sox. Continue that.
Yeah, honestly, that's the truth, because, you know, Cleveland and Kansas City are basically, you know, very similar teams in terms of they're right around 500, and you can pretty plainly see their strengths and weaknesses. And Minnesota, you know, I still think that they're going to continue to, not a huge drop off, but generally speaking, play against. So to answer your question specifically, is that yes, I would say look to play on the White Sox. I will add Cleveland, and in 2 scenarios, I would look to play on Cleveland at home where they've been strong, and look to play against them on the road where they have been weak. Those are things that I see right now that I would continue to go with.
Okay, I think we got our forecast for the AL Central. Thanks, Doug.